us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Loving God, we come to you today, giving thanks for all the blessings received and for fellowship and friendship. We welcome our participants into our eTalk, that you bless them and guide them as they begin their journey with us, and as we delight in learning more knowledge that the speaker may impart to us. We believe in your goodness with all our hearts. Be our guide should situations make us wonder which way to turn. As each hour passes on this day, Lord, bless us with your strength, and please keep us under your watchful eye the entire day. This we pray in the name of Jesus, your Son, our Lord. Amen. To formally open this activity, I would like to call on Dr. Jerovic Raffles, Head of the Guidance and Testing Division, for his welcome address.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to another eTalk discussion in partnership with the Silliman University Library and the Guidance and Testing Division. Today would be a very interesting topic on mental wellness in the midst of pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a major effect in our lives. Many of us are facing challenges that can be stressful, overwhelming, and can cause strong emotions in us adults and even children. Learning to cope with these challenges in a healthy way will make you, the people you care about, and those around you become more resilient. This will be shared to us by one of your guidance counselors assigned in the College of Engineering and the College of Computer Studies. Let's learn together on how to stay mentally healthy. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Bereavement, isolation, loss of income, and fear are triggering mental health conditions during this pandemic. Many people may be facing increased levels of alcohol and drug use, insomnia, and anxiety. Others were worried about the emotional impact that the loss of loved ones would have on themselves and on their friends and neighbors. Many found it hard to cope with the grief and isolation, and others found it hard to deal with job loss and financial insecurity. Mental wellness is a positive state of mental health. It is more than the absence of mental illness. Discover what being mentally well means and how it can help you lead a fulfilling life. This situation fills our eTalk today, entitled Mental Wellness in Time of Global Pandemic. Before we begin and formally introduce our speaker today, we must observe the following rules. First, mute your device's microphone. Second, during the presentation, please do not interrupt the speaker. Third, you may type in your question in the Q&A box. Your questions will be entertained after the eTalk. At this juncture, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our resource speaker for today. She is currently a full-time student pursuing a doctorate degree in psychology, major in social organizational psychology. She finished her master's in psychology, major in industrial organizational psychology in 2013. She became a licensed psychometrician in 2015. She passed the board exam for guidance counselors at the age of 59 in 2016 and is a registered guidance counselor. She describes her educational history as a true red Sillimanian from nursery to her current pursuit of a doctorate degree. She is a full-time guidance counselor, College of Computer Studies and College of Engineering and Design. She is also working as a part-time instructor at the psychology department. Let us all virtually welcome our speaker, Assistant Professor Maria Roiselle D. Nacu. Good noon, ma'am.
Hi, good noon. Good noon naman dito, no? Okay, I tweaked the heading or the title a little bit, no? I placed there a personal journey to mental wellness in time of global pandemic. Okay, so the contents, next slide please. The contents of my talk will be an overview of the mental situation globally. Then we will define mental health as well as mental wellness. Then, of course, we will go into the practices of mental wellness. And of course, you have the resource. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's look at our neighboring countries now. What is happening abroad, here and abroad. So in 2019, the coronavirus disease was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization on March 11, 2020. Now, in mid-February 2020, World Health Organization estimated 54 million people in China suffered from depression and about 41 million suffered from anxiety disorders. So over 1/3 of these people had experienced psychological distress by mid-February, according to the nationwide survey conducted. In Japan, October 2020, from the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, it cited that more people died from suicide in Japan in October 2, which was 2,153, than the total number of COVID-19 deaths, which was only 1,765. In Singapore, the survey conducted by World Health Organization Filipinos suffered from one kind of mental, neurological, and substance use disorder. Moreover, the pandemic has further impacted mental health in groups such as older adults, healthcare providers, and people with underlying mental health conditions or health conditions. Okay, next slide, please. Amidst the confusion, amidst the fear, the anxiety of the pandemic, where everybody was starting to point fingers at one another, who should do this, what should be done, etc., etc. We had the World Health Organization's COVID-19 response, and it said a lot of what we do in the World Health Organization doesn't make the headlines because it is not photogenic, but it makes a vital difference to the lives of billions of people. That is by Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Next slide, please. In the Philippines, there was also a lot of efforts that was initiated by our government, and the Philippine World Health Organization Special Initiative for Mental Health here in the Philippines, by Health Secretary Francis T. Duque III. He said he recognized that mental health is a serious matter and cannot be left unattended. Okay? There is nothing, according to him, to be ashamed of when it comes to taking better care of one's mental health. And we need to make a concerted effort at all levels if we are to help people with these conditions. Now, the reason why I made that title is that even though how much we try to tell you, how to practice mental wellness, it is still your personal journey. And this is what the World Health Organization is saying, as well as our Philippine Department of Health or the agencies in the government are saying. We need a concerted effort at all levels, from your own level, your personal level. Next slide, please. So to define what mental health is, according to the World Health Organization, it is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. Next slide, please. So, according to the American Mental Wellness Association, health in all areas is a continuum. Nobody is perfectly healthy in every aspect. However, finding health in the four main dimensions of your life, which is the biophysical, the psychological, the social, as well as the spiritual, is the best way to maintain wellness and stop problems before they begin. According to the Singapore Association for Mental Health, mental wellness is a positive state of mental health, and it is more than the absence of mental illness. Next slide, please. So here we see the dimensions of health, actually the 7 dimensions of wellness. It includes not only our mental wellness, but it also includes our physical, social, as well as spiritual aspect. Now, the physical aspect. This refers to your health and fitness. Physical characteristics are our body weight, visual ability, strength, coordination, level of endurance, level of susceptibility to disease, and powers of recuperation. The emotional aspect, or the emotional dimension of health, encompasses our ability to see the world in a realistic manner, how to cope with stress, remain flexible, and compromise to resolve conflict. In the social aspect, this refers to your family, your friends, your relationships. The social dimension encompasses social skills and cultural sensitivity. The intellectual dimension refers to your personal growth, the abilities to process and on information, clarify your values and beliefs, and exercise decision-making capacity. This is the ability to analyze, synthesize, hypothesize, and then act on new information. The spiritual aspect, this refers to the religious beliefs and practices, your relationships with other living things, the nature of human behavior, and the need and willingness to serve others. In the occupational aspect, your career and finances is being talked about here, and that is what our the introduction, Mom Esme, talked about. It is a testing ground for and source of life-enhancing skills. In our place of employment, we gain not only the financial resources we need, but also an array of useful skills such as conflict resolution, experiences in shared responsibilities, and intellectual growth that can be used to facilitate a wide range of non-employment interactions. And the last but not the least, the environmental dimension. Personal environmental characteristics such as land, air, and water. It is argued that environmental dimensions could consider all material and metaphysical surroundings as well. Next slide, please. Okay, let's go to the mental wellness practices as by the Mental Health Wellness Association, American Mental Health Association, Wellness Association. First, let's talk about the biophysical. We are talking about the healthy diet, the regular exercise, a restful sleep, as well as avoiding substances. Okay, so I think it's very important here in the biophysical aspect that we mind our what we eat, no? Because there's a saying that goes, "You are what you eat." Okay, so if we talk about healthy diet, the brain is the control center of the body. In order for it to grow and develop the way it needs to, it has to have the right nutrients provided by a balanced and healthy diet. The brain is also a muscle. Thus, to be fully healthy, it needs to be exercised. Okay, so eat the right foods and eat the right amount of calories. No? Then we have regular exercise. Okay, get moving. Next slide, please. So that's your healthy diet, and this is your regular exercise. So it is essential for total body wellness, including mental wellness. We've all heard the fact that exercise pumps us all, pumps up endorphins, no? Which literally makes us happy and fights off problems such as depression. So it should not come as a surprise that moving your body improves a multitude of brain functions. Sometimes we say, "Oh, I'm too old to exercise like the way I like the picture," no? Well, you can always do sweeping the floor, or what else? Cleaning your room, etc. Because we have very limited space now during the pandemic, but you can do all these things just to sweat it out. Okay. While there is a regular exercise, we also have the mental exercise, the physical exercise. We also have the mental exercise. Okay. So how do we exercise our brain? You know, we have a lot of things that we can do, like do crossword puzzles. You can also read a lot. There's a lot of information in Google now where you can read a lot of things that you would like to even read about what all the things that I'm talking about. That is still a mental exercise. Okay, you can do, you can write journals, etc., etc. This is according to how you want to journey, no? Because it is towards your mental wellness. We cannot say what you should do. You can only do what you are capable of doing, which is one is meditating. There's also mental exercise, which we will mention again later on. Next slide, please. Restful sleep. Oftentimes, young people come to me and say they cannot sleep. And I ask them why, and they say, "Wow, we have a lot of things to think about. We have a lot of worries to solve, no? Problems to solve, and worries, no? So there is nothing that can exchange with having a restful sleep. When your body is talking to you, when it says that when you say you have a lot of things, and then your mind is telling you, I'm tired, and you try to doze off, but then you stop from dozing off. You drink a lot of coffee and take a lot of things so that you cannot sleep. This one creates mental illness, no? For you, and not only mental, but also physical illness, because you are not listening to your body. So sleep is very important. And for, if we talk about sleep, we talk about what? 8 hours max. Thank you. Next slide, please. Of course, we avoid substances that are not healthy. We are talking about alcohol. We are talking about drugs, no? And we are talking about smoking and the unhealthy habits that you have. If you have, if you want to have mental wellness, you avoid all this. Next one, the psychological aspect. Okay, so we are talking about self-care, mindfulness, and grounding. Okay, when we talk about self-care, it refers to activities that individuals, families, and communities undertake with the intention of enhancing health, preventing disease, limiting illness, and restoring health. So self-care exercises are also known as what? Mindfulness or grounding techniques, and are usually used to de-stress, relax, or otherwise make yourself feel good. So you have there PERMA by, I think this is by Martin Seligman's self-care model. And it is talking about what? The P is the positive emotions. The E is engagement. The engagement means what are the flow of activities that make you lose track of time, no? R refers to relationships. Who brings you joy, peace, and support? The M refers to meaning. What causes and pursuits do you find important and worthwhile? And the A is accomplishment, which is what are your goals? How can they be achieved? Next slide, please. However, there is an addition to it, which is the letter V, no? And it is hyphenated. And the V refers to vitality or taking good care of our bodies and minds. For example, via regular physical exercise, a healthy diet, enough sleep, and mindfulness practices. Of course, in PERMA, there was also a suggestion or a move, no, to have the letter S, so it will became PERMAS. Okay, so the letter S could be our spiritual aspect. Not yet. Sige. Thank you. Could be the spiritual aspect. It could also refer to sports. Of course, it could also refer to sex, or it could refer to sustenance, or it could refer to sleep. So we have, yes, next slide, please. Then we have the sensory. Okay, self-care is divided into 7 different types of exercises. And we have the sensory exercise. When you feel stress, calm down by focusing on the sensations around you. Like, what do you see? What do you smell? What are the sounds that you can hear? What are the tastes? And what can you touch, no? Okay, so this will help you focus on the present moment. Okay, so pleasure, it refers to engaging in an activity that you enjoy. For example, take yourself out to eat. And that's what one of my friends said just before I had this talk. Let's eat at Bethel after your talk. Wow. It gave me a lot of pleasure. Oh, you can also garden. You could watch a movie. It's up to you. No? This is your journey to wellness. Then we have mental mastery, which is giving yourself a boost by doing a task that you've been avoiding or by challenging your brain in a new way. Oftentimes when we are too busy, we neglect some thoughts that we would rather have thoughts that are not healthy rather than unhealthy thoughts. No? So for example, this is giving yourself mental and mastery means giving yourself a boost by doing a task that you've been avoiding or by challenging your brain in a new way. So my friends in the senior citizen batch, they would always send us some puzzles. Okay, try to look for these words or try to look for this image. No, so it also helps us think, and yeah, the mental exercise is there. Now, this one could also be cleaning out uh, junk, no? Taking action, like something that you have been avoiding for a long time, trying a new activity or making a list, immersing yourself in crossword puzzles, etc. Then we have the spiritual aspect, which is getting in touch with your values. What really matters is a sure way to cope with stress and foster a calm mind. Now, this could include attending church, meditating, praying, etc. Then we have the emotional, dealing with our emotions. Can be challenging when we're coping with stress. We tend to label feelings as good or bad, but this isn't helpful. Instead, accept your feelings. They're okay, even if it's negative, really. Then write your feelings down, journal it, cry when you need to, laugh when you can, practice self-compassion, keep a list of your daily accomplishments. And we have the physical, coping with stress by getting your body moving. I have mentioned that already. And the social, connecting with others in an important step of self-care. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so I think I have mentioned this already a while ago. When we say support system, we are talking about the people now who you can go to, talk with regarding your issues or concerns. Then this is your safety net. The bigger the net, the easier it is to catch yourself when you fall. Then we are talking about the positive environment. Stressful environments. Oftentimes when we are at home, there's a lot of things that we have to do, or even at work. There's a lot of things that you have to do at work, no? And oftentimes you bring this at home. So during the pandemic, since we are limited in our space, some of us work at home. What can you do? One is that you could always declug, no? Your working area. Sometimes you put a lot of things, putting them, always what? You have a lot of things to do. You have a pile of laundry. You have all these papers that you need to sort out. You can do this slowly, no? And clean your environment. That could be one way that you will have, you would be mentally well, no? by cleaning your environment. Okay. And I think the last was the spiritual aspect. Yeah, yes, slide. Next slide, please. Yes. Okay. So healing doesn't mean that the cure will occur, but that the heart will come to rest. Next slide, please. Okay. Of course, in self-care, you have the S, which is spiritual, and this is the belief in a higher being. Next slide, please. Okay. So these are some special tips for Mental Wellness Month. Develop a positive attitude. Learn self-appreciation. Hey, you have to say also, no? Don't wait for other people to tell you, you have a nice hair. Tell yourself, I look good. looking good. Strengthen your mental resilience. Laugh, develop relationships, and exercise regularly. Next slide, please. Okay. I asked some of our colleagues, no? And this is what they said. Manglaba ko. This is by Assistant Professor Annalyn Gio. That's how she maintains her mental wellness. Shopping, says Assistant Professor Mucam Seneres. For Dr. Jarvik Raffles, he said, I practice mindfulness for self-regulation. Char. I do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. 5 things that I can see, 4 things that I can touch, 3 things that I can hear, 2 things that I can smell, and 1 thing that I can feel inside my body. And of course, we have Assistant Professor Jessica Kitani. She says, I exercise a lot, practice mindful eating, and do yoga. Next slide, please. Okay. This also reflects what I also think. Things to remember. Tomorrow is a new day. Making mistakes is part of life. Saying no is okay. Not everyone has to like you. Beauty and strength come from within. Thank you.
Now, let's pick some questions from the Q&A box. So here's a question from Anonymous. Does self-isolation help when mentally disturbed?
Well, for mentally disturbed individuals, it would be good that you have this social network now, even just one friend, because the more you isolate yourself, the more it will increase your depression, and it will not help in your mental health.
Thank you, ma'am. So here's another question. How do we deal with the disturbing information coming in, especially in terms of COVID?
Okay, so these are facts, no, about that we have to deal with. I'm not saying that we have to filter everything and that everything should be good news, no. We have to balance also the information that we get. Okay, it's good to know what is happening in our country, and most of them is not good. Probably most of the information or the data or the statistics that we get may not always be good, but it's up to you on how you process this information. So instead of making it as a negative uh, negative aspect, no, or making it negative, what you can do is what can you do with this information that you have at that particular moment. How are you going to relay that information to other people in a positive way, no? Because oftentimes people misunderstand a lot. That's why we are always saying be educated. No, we need to educate a lot of people. We take the good as well as the bad, balance it out. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. So there's another question from Mrs. Sarah Angela Ragay. How should we handle people with depression and anxiety?
Okay. If we are not professionals, we have to refer them to professionals, because although on our part, what we can do is listen to them. We need to be there for them. be the support system that they need. But when it comes to help that is needed, if these people are really depressed, you can recommend that they approach a professional, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or we have guidance counselors in schools now who can also help you in this aspect. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you very much for devoting your time and expertise. Indeed, our topic is very informative and insightful for everybody. It is an honor to have you today, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let me present the certificate to the speaker. Silliman University Library System Certificate of Recognition is presented to Maria Roiselle D. Nacu in grateful recognition and sincere appreciation as speaker during the library eTalk with the topic Mental Wellness in the Time of Global Pandemic, held at MySol Virtual Library, Silliman University on April 14, 2021. Signed, Dr. Erjud Paul L. Cleope, OIC University Librarian Vice President for Academic Affairs. First of all, I would like to thank the collaboration of the Guidance and Testing Division and the Silliman University Library System for having this eTalk. Special thanks to Assistant Professor Maria Roiselle D. Nacu for sharing her time and expertise with us. Thank you also to the participants and to my colleagues behind the scene. I hope we learned a lot from this eTalk. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe.